So the recording. Hello, everyone. We're just letting the our live stream onto LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube go live, and then we're going to start this broadcast with FRESHPPACT. Denzel, say hello to everyone.
Oh, hang on. Sorry, mute button problems. Hello, everyone. Good to see you all. And yeah, go ahead, Max.
Okay, so Simon, I'll do the proper intro in a moment, but we're still waiting for Facebook to click in because I don't think Mr. Zuckerberg has put his 50 cents in the meter yet. Do you want to just give a quick background on FRESHPPACT? A one-liner. What is FRESHPPACT? Start us off.
FRESHPPACT, it's the Fresh Produce Impact Hub. And essentially what we're seeking to do is define the problem. What are the big challenges that the fresh produce industry are seeking to solve related to specifically sustainability? How can we work together with the research community to find the solutions and ultimately change the world? So that in a nutshell is what we're trying to do.
Denzel, you've stolen my job. Okay, Facebook is now live. Let us start properly. Everyone, we're really excited to have myself, Max McGillivray from Beanstalk.Global, and Denzel, Simon Derrick from Blue Skies on today for FRESHPPACT. Define the problem, discover the solution, change the world, FRESHPPACT. Today, we are hosting the Technical and Innovation Workshop with the clear purpose of gaining additional insight on the 3 Plastic Challenge funds. And for those involved to have the opportunity to engage and connect with innovators, solution providers, and technical experts to discuss potential ideas and synergies. As Denzel's just mentioned, the Fresh Produce Impact Hub brings together retailers, manufacturers, and agribusinesses operating within food supply chains rooted in developing or emerging economies to identify shared high-priority social and environmental challenges and work with research partners to accelerate the adoption of the most promising solutions through a process of rapid evaluation, testing, and adoption. FRESHPPACT Consortium members include the likes of Blue Skies and Waitrose. And I'm just going to get my list because this is important. They include the following partners: Blue Skies, Prima Fruit, Fruit Veg in Ghana, Waitrose and Partners, University of Northampton, and their CSBP, the Centre for Sustainable Business Practices, the University of Nottingham, the FPC, Fresh Produce Consortium, Fresh and Dry Limited in Ghana, the Food People, Africa Skills Hub, Beanstalk.Global, and with more to follow. And just to state that the University of Northampton and their Centre for Sustainable Business Practices has been appointed as the coordinating research and project management partner for FRESHPPACT. Blue Skies, I always embarrass Denzel and the Blue Skies team by just mentioning this, but we need to mention it. There's some businesses within the fresh sector that just go the extra mile. You look at how Blue Skies was set up by the inspirational Anthony Pyle, MBE. And as the story goes, 25 years ago, he went to Ghana, having never been there previously, and started cutting up pineapples under a palm tree near Accra with 10 locals. Today, they're the highest privately owned business employing, or help me, Denzel, how many people do you employ in Ghana now?
It's up to 3,500 at our peak. So we're one of the biggest private sector employers in Ghana.
It's with Blue Skies and with Anthony, what he's looked to create is amazing business units in Ghana, Benin, Egypt, South Africa, and Brazil. And where I think there's this fundamental difference with Blue Skies, it's not about profit, it's about doing good. Hence why they've put themselves out to create the FRESHPPACT in innovation, to create positivity, create change in the market. And you look at everything that Blue Skies has gone through, whether it be volcanic ash storms, who remembers them? Whether it be Brexit, who remembers that? Whether it be the currency issues that we're going through at the moment, Blue Skies is going to be here for a long time and is always looking to make the difference. And on the back of that, they've recently been awarded, they've had the recognition of the success that they've created within the sector. Last Friday, the FPC, Fresh Produce Consortium Awards, Blue Skies won 2 awards. First one, Supermarket Fruit and Veg Supplier of the Year. But even better, they won the Fresh Produce Business of the Year award from the FPC. Blue Skies is modest and won't want to really show off about that, but I feel it's my duty to tell everyone how good Blue Skies is. And again, why they're so inspirational, going down this line of setting up FRESHPPACT and looking to define the problem, discover the solution, and change the world. Denzel, have I described FRESHPPACT in an appropriate manner? Is there anything else that you'd like to add, please?
No, I think you've described it very well. So yeah, we're in the process now of looking for the solutions to those plastics challenge funds around agricultural mulch, workwear, and packaging, and obviously hoping that today this this broadcast and this workshop that we're going to be going into a bit later is going to help us to sort of stimulate some ideas, potentially make a few connections, generate a few synergies between the people on this call. I mean, there might be people on the call who've got an idea, got the seed of an idea, who maybe not quite sure whether to put together an application, who might benefit from talking to somebody else on the call or speaking to us to put them in connection with somebody we're talking to try and do what we often talk about, which is joining the dots, which is what FRESHPPACT is trying to do. It's trying to identify where the kind of source of the problem is. Where are these shared challenges, and where are the people with the ideas and the solutions, and then try and connect them. Because sometimes the organisation or the person with the solution might be just next door to us, but we don't know. We might not have come across it before. Because sometimes it's just a case of you don't know what you don't know. And one thing FRESHPPACT is trying to do is to open up the world of possibility to what's out there already to try and help us solve some of those problems.
Simon, well said. And if there's one thing I've learned doing numerous broadcasts, over 250 broadcasts in the UK and overseas, and a number with Blue Skies, collaboration. The more that our sector can collaborate, not only in a UK perspective, but internationally, the more that we can find solutions. Denzel, the more that we can be non-siloed in our thinking, the more that we can collaborate, create answers that we can all benefit, then the whole sector benefits, and also the consumer benefits. Do you not think?
Absolutely. And I was blushing when you were singing the praise to Blue Skies. Of course, we're very proud of what we've achieved, but we're always conscious that we can achieve more. But this isn't about Blue Skies. This is about our industry. How can we find solutions that benefits the entire industry, but also beyond? Because when you look at some of the ideas and solutions that we're looking for, they could obviously have an application within fresh produce, within the wider food industry, but they also could have an application elsewhere as well, such as in take obviously workwear and PPE in the health sector. So it's important that we don't just talk to ourselves; we talk to others as well who also face similar issues. So yeah, it's about collaboration. It's about casting the net as widely as possible and joining those dots.
Denzel, well done. And just to reiterate again, please feel free to share the details of this. FRESHPPACT, www.freshppact.org. And our mini agenda today, as you'd expect with anything to do with Africa, it's all going to be here, there, or everywhere. But everyone's going to have a great smile. But we're going to go into our technical briefs in a minute. We're going to have a technical brief. We're probably going to go on the order of Denzel. What do you reckon? Workwear, then packaging, then agricultural mulch. We're then going to have a wrap up, and those on social media will then say thank you very much for joining. And then we're going to have a breakout room for those who are actually on the Zoom call. If you're watching on social media and you do want to get further involved and you do want to meet our experts or the other people on the Zoom call, please just go to the Beanstalk website. So that's Beanstalk.Global, and look at the left-hand vertical. Keep scrolling down there, and you'll see the broadcast link for today. Just link on there, register. Then I'll let you straight in, and then you can join the breakout rooms so that you can find out more. So Denzel, what do you think? Which the technical briefs? We've got these 3 technical briefs with some amazing experts that I'm really excited to hear from. Who would you like to go for first, please, Denzel?
Yeah, I think we're going to go for the workwear brief first. I think it would be great if before we do that, if obviously we've got quite a lot of people joining us on this call, if people want to introduce themselves on the chat, so we all get to know each other and who's there, and then obviously feel free to ask any questions as we go along, and we can capture those during the Q&A. But also, if anyone wants to sort of connect with each other, there's obviously that opportunity, which I think Zoom allows you to do, to be able to make that connection. So, because I'm conscious that I want to use this opportunity today as well to try and sort of make some of those connections between all the people that are interested.
Excellent. Why don't we do this? So just to reiterate, we would love you to introduce yourself on the chat screen. But could everyone who's on this call, can you just all turn on your video so we can all see you? And then everyone on social media can just see how many people that we got on and how many people are interested in FRESHPPACT. And I'm going to just say it again: define the problem, discover the solution, and change the world with FRESHPPACT. And should we be a little bit jingoistic? It's a nice sunny day out there. We've all got a smile on our face. We're all going to make a difference. After 3, can we just all wave at the camera? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, wave. Look at that. That's fantastic. Excellent. Right, everyone. That's great to have you on. Could you turn off your videos? And could we have Tom on Marley as well? That would be great to start off on that basis. Tom, where are you? There's our Tom. Oh, Tom, just turn on your ears, please. You know, I was going to say that. Would be better spotlight, Tom. Tom, just turn on your ears or your microphone. Bottom left-hand corner, you're in.
Yep, there we go. Hi, everyone.
Testing.
I'm also going to share my screen.
Excellent. Okay, and Tom, just before we start, what do you know about Blue Skies? You're not vaguely connected with it, are you?
No, I'm not connected with it at all. I mean, obviously, I'm joking. I'm being facetious because I have family connections with Blue Skies from day one, so going back right to when I was a teenager, and I've actually been working with Blue Skies full time for the last 7.5 years or so. Is it 7.5? 6.5. But it's a company that's really close to my heart, and it means a lot to me. But also, I'm very proud that we're making strides in these sort of areas and tackling these sort of big problems with the help of all of the people on the call and others too. So yes, it's something I'm very pleased to be part of.
And Tom, if it's okay, we all know businesses where sons and daughters feel duty bound to come on into the business. I don't see that with yourself and your father. I see that you and your other family members are involved with the business. You are, I'm just gonna say it, you're here to do good, and the good that you are doing is just manifesting itself in the likes of FRESHPPACT. Tom, would that be true?
Yeah, totally true. I can't tell you how many family meal conversations we have just go straight back to Blue Skies and everything we're doing. It's really in our blood. So it's not a duty, it's sort of intertwined with our lives, I have to say. So yeah, all good.
Love it. Right, you have the floor, sir. Off you go.
Okay, fantastic. So hopefully everyone can see me and hear me too. Please let me know if you can't, but hopefully you can see the first slide, which says workwear, single-use plastic. And it's going to be me very quickly giving a bit of an overview on this section, with Marley jumping in actually to kind of bring it to life from Blue Skies Ghana. I'll come on to that in a second, but it will help sort of elaborate on some of the points I'm making. So obviously workwear is a big issue, not just for Blue Skies, but for lots of manufacturing companies. We use a lot of aprons, gloves, beer snoods, moustache snoods, hairnets, oversleeves, single-use plastic, disposable workwear items in our operation. And I'll come on to our current situation and tell you what that is, I guess the issues with it, and why it's needed, but why it's something we need to think about solving. And of course, many companies like ours also need to think about solving too. So the current situation is, just at Blue Skies Ghana alone, so take the other sites out of the equation, it's around 70 tons of single-use plastic workwear that we're using a year. I always feel a little bit bad when I say that because it's such a huge volume, and it's actually increasing too, because as we grow as a business, which we're doing, which is great news, creates employment, it builds the family, so to speak. Unfortunately, in line with that, our plastic usage associated with workwear has been going up and is going up. And just to make sort of, add salt into the wound type of thing, there's actually a lot of carbon associated with the transport of it too. So not just the creation of the plastic, the question mark of what happens to that plastic at disposal point, but actually just to get it to Ghana. It comes from predominantly China and the Philippines too. It goes via the UK, believe it or not, and then it goes down to Ghana. Now, there's several solutions and ways to mitigate that we're considering and thinking about. partnering with another company nearby that buys workwear, getting it directly from China. But nevertheless, any way you cut it, there's a lot of carbon associated too with just getting it there. Now, there's a very good reason why we need this workwear, because it's partly about food safety, but actually it's largely about protecting our workers. Our workers mean a lot to us. Their comfort, you know, they're working hours and hours and hours a day in quite sort of, you know, in conditions that some people would find a little bit monotonous from time to time. And it's very important that we make sure that they are as comfortable and as happy as possible. So the workwear is important to make sure, you can imagine, they're not getting drenched with fruit, they're not getting covered with fruit juice and that sort of thing. They're protecting their clothes and their cells and making it comfortable. So that's really important and part of the challenge. If someone came along and said, oh, we've got a great solution for a reusable apron, it's a bit heavy and bulky, but it will help the environment, I would like to counter that and say, yeah, but think about the workers too. Is it making their life better or worse? Are they going to be more or less comfortable? So something to think about. It's playing a very important role of this protective workwear. Now, we have got a partial solution there at the moment. So some of our items, such as aprons and oversleeves, can be recycled in Ghana. It's really fantastic news, and my colleagues will come and tell you a little bit more about the details in a second. But essentially, something like an apron, for example, is made of predominantly monoplastic. It's a little bit complicated. I found out it's 85% HDPE. The technical people on the call will understand this, and 10% LDPE plus a color batch for about 5%. So it's a funny kind of mix anyway, but it's predominantly PE, polyethylene, and it can be downcycled, collected by a recycling company and downcycled into black plastic bags. So you could say, yes, being downcycled, but not going into landfill. It's not the case, I'm afraid, with gloves and other items too, such as hairnets. I'm afraid they are going to landfill, and it's a blight on our company, and it's a blight on many companies, and it's something that needs to be thought about and addressed. So if I dive into the challenge very, very briefly, it's just a slide, a sentence really. We need to identify a new approach to mitigating plastic pollution caused by the use of PP, personal protective workwear, within fresh produce manufacturing. Specifically, we're looking at Ghana. I'm afraid the challenge gets more challenging when you think about the technical side of things. So, you know, we have to worry about, okay, this protective, will the solutions deliver the same technical performance that our current protective workwear is delivering, such as effective microbiological control, stopping fragments of hairs from your clothes or fabric from your clothes, or indeed hair from your head or anything, getting close to the food? We have to worry about food safety requirements. Will the material itself be strong enough so that it isn't a contaminant? You know, if you have a very, very thin apron, we're actually looking at an initiative to move from 10 micron to 8 micron thickness, if you follow what I'm saying, aprons. That's a great initiative. We think it will work. If you go too thin though, and the you know, bits of plastic occasionally, low incidence, 1 in 1,000, might come off these sort of aprons and contaminate the food, that's a no-no. That's a total issue. So we need to think about that. Comfortable for the user, I mentioned that. Is it easily washable and dryable if we're looking at reusable materials? Surprisingly difficult challenge. You know, if you're in a rainy country, I know Ghana isn't, but it is sometimes, how on earth do you dry many, many hundreds, if not more, aprons, gloves, etc.? You can't, you know, even if you put them outside in the sun, if it starts to rain. And then we also need to think about use of preferred materials too. That's a technical requirement that the solution needs to be sort of addressing. Supermarkets are very particular about what's on their red list, no-nos, what's on their green list, totally acceptable, and then the kind of middle ground on the orange section of their list. So we need to think carefully about whether it's meeting supermarket requirements, not just the requirements of the people within this forum, for example. And it becomes very item specific. You know, obviously aprons and oversleeves and gloves, we need to think about, okay, different sizes need to be applied. So if it's reusable, we need to make sure that we've got the right mix of sizes, because people don't want to be wearing the wrong size items. slight off on a tangent, but I went to B&Q recently, bear with me, and I bought 100-pack of disposable medium-sized gloves. And then I got back to do whatever I was doing, and then one pair of gloves in, realized that my hands must be, maybe they're large size, or medium was too small. But anyway, they didn't fit. So if anyone wants to direct message me, DM me for 99 spare gloves from B&Q, let me know. So you have to think about these sort of things and the waste that might be associated with it too if you get it wrong. And then similarly, hair nets and beer snoods, of course, they're actually stopping contamination going directly onto the food. And then just very, very briefly, and I am rattling through this to make sure I have time to hand over to Marley, but we can cover all of these points because we know a lot about the detail behind them in the workshop, in the breakout sessions in a moment. But we need to think about the commercial viability. There's always a risk with this sort of initiative. You can be a little bit academic, a little bit sort of myopic in your thinking, and you don't think of what I call the total cost ownership. I work in procurement, so I think about these sort of things all the time as part of my day job. But you think about it's not just the item costs, it's the delivery costs, it's the taxes, it's the disposal costs. If you've got renewable, reusable aprons, and actually there's lots of labor involved, and washing equipment and detergent, etc., that is a cost too, and you need to look at the full picture. If we come up with a solution that means significant environmental benefit, greater recycling rates or less wastage rates or whatever it might be, and it's twice as much as a model, it could easily just be thrown out. Lots of companies, particularly at the moment, pressure, squeeze margins, take one look at that and say, this is an area we don't need to think about for now. So you need to be honest with yourselves and think, can this be made to be commercially viable? Might be an outlay to begin with, that's okay if it pays back over time, but some sort of model you put forward has to think about that commercial feasibility and viability side of things. So what I'm now going to do, and I believe he's on the call, I'm going to hand over, if it's okay, to you, Marley, to bring things to life a little bit with a few examples of what you have there at Blue Skies Ghana.
Tom, well done. Just as we were waiting for Marley to come in, yeah, it is this oxymoron, isn't it, that we all want that solution, but the cost, if the cost is, as for example, twice that of the existing solution, people aren't going to adopt this, are they? So it's just there's got to be it's got to be comparable, and we just need a little bit more money from the supply chain to be able to invest in this for the long-term future.
Totally, and it is that you can look at it at the long term. So what I would say to everyone is, don't be daunted by this, but be thoughtful of it. So please have the conversations with us. Let's get into the workshop and talk through ideas. Don't throw the idea out too quickly, but we are here maybe to assist with that process, to think about ways that it can be made more commercially viable through all of our suppliers and all of our contacts too. So yeah, thoughtful, but not daunted by that fact.
No, well done. And Tom, can you just stop your screen share and let's just see if Marley's there. This is the bit I excitedly pre-warned everyone on, that's dialing into countries in West Africa is always exciting. And we'll see how we get on. But Thomas, you're doing that. Is you're stopping your screen share? Are you generally positive about this area? That are you seeing glimmers? Are you seeing magic dust? Are you seeing possible solutions?
I think what we're doing at the moment is chipping away at things, which is great news. If you move from 10 microns to 8 microns, it's a tactical change rather than an approach change. It's chipping away at the problem, but it's not solving the problem fully, and that's what we need to do. So we're banding about ideas, but we haven't yet made that breakthrough, unless I have one idea, but I don't want to mention it now, unless we do something radical.
Okay, you've teased us now. Okay, so Marley's there. Shall we dial in? So Tom, do you want to back away, Tom? If you turn off your video. Marley, hello, sir.
Hi, everyone.
Fantastic. Yes. The floor is yours, sir. Lovely to see you. Who's your colleague, please?
She's called Agnes.
Hello, Agnes. Lovely to see you.
Lovely. So this is Agnes, and this is what we said about our workwear. This is the apron, I hope you can see me. This is the apron, and these are the gloves, and these are the oversleeves, and this is the hairnets. Exactly. So she's all dressed to work in high care, and these red coats are the coats that we use in high care. It is blue in low risk, but she's from high care, so she's wearing red now, and then she's all covered. She's all covered because juice doesn't have to come to his dress, and then it protects the food too from microorganisms on food safety aspect as well. So this hair, is that okay?
Yep. All good. Brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Agnes.
Sure.
Excellent. Excellent. Agnes, you've done such a good job. Forget Vogue. We really, it's so important that we see this demonstration live and on site in Ghana, to see the changes that could be made, and presumably this type of workwear is comfortable, because as Tom indicated, there are long shifts. Is it comfortable to wear for a long shift?
Yes, it's comfortable. I mean, we change it around twice in a day. So this what you use, but in case it gets torn, it can easily get torn, or in case the gloves are wet, she goes inside and change as and when necessary. But when it's going to, I mean, typically everybody uses this twice in a day. I mean, when she's going on break, she will use a new one, and then when she's back to, she uses a new one. So it's about thrice in a day.
Got it. Okay. And if I say, okay, Marley, just so I'll ask you, on the basis of I asked Tom, are you positive about the future of this workwear and finding a solution? Are you seeing potential solutions within Ghana?
Sorry, again.
Are you positive about the future in the respect of workwear, and in that we need to find a solution? Are you seeing solutions? Are you and your team, your colleagues, are you positive about trying new solutions to find a solution?
Of course, we are trying. We are very positive about that. For the solution, Tom mentioned, we are trying to recycle it. Once now, we are trying to recycle the oversleeve and the apron now, but we are not able to recycle the gloves and the hairnets now. So we are open to solutions.
Yeah, because I can't remember off the top of my head, but the number, the tonnage of plastic in Ghana alone is something like a million tons of plastic is created in Ghana every year, and only 5% of it is recycled. And no offense to Ghana, Ghana is a relatively small country in the likes of Africa, let alone the rest of the world. So if you can find solutions, and within the food industry, everyone can look to adopt the solutions that you've created, that would be very exciting, not only for Ghana, but also for Africa. Yes.
That would be very exciting, because in Ghana, people use plastic, single-use plastic a lot, and then I mean, the carnage, the trouble on the streets, on the farms are a lot.
Yeah, understood. And we'll come on to the mulch element in a moment as well. Tom, do you want to just come back in and just wrap up for us? Because it's great to have Agnes and Marley there, but it'd be great to hear your comments, because what you're doing is basically positively affecting all of your colleagues out in Ghana.
Yeah, totally. And we need to be working as a team. And arguably in the past, we haven't had that level of communication, which is why this project's been a brilliant kind of catalyst to that, to start us even understanding our own type of processes and stuff. So I think we're moving forwards. And just to, I suppose I'll tell you what the idea is that I've been sort of mulling over, and it's been bandied about by our other sort of colleagues and Lisa at Waitrose and others too, is the concept that we maybe don't need workwear at all. Well, we could argue from if you like, a food safety perspective, that we don't need workwear, because you could argue that there is actually a low contamination risk the food. The problem is, however, we do need it, it seems, to the best of my understanding, from a employee protection point of view. So it's just interesting to challenge our thinking about why we actually do things the way we do. But yeah, we're not, that's why we've got everyone on the call. We're waiting for that proposal. We're waiting for that brilliant idea thought through and worked with us and the others to come up with a solution, even if it turns out that it's more about less about food safety, more about employee protection.
Yeah, Tom, that's fascinating. So there's actually another way through the conversation, the collaborations, that there could actually be a solution which hasn't been thought of before, that the solution might and still might be the likes of finding solutions to plastic, but also might be how we change, how we actually change how we work, like having no protective clothing because it's not needed. But then that difficulty that, as you say, we need to protect the employee, and just trying to find that happy medium.
Totally, Max. You know, the brief is in a sense broad, and you know what the problem is. 70 tons of plastic, some have been recycled, some not, and the solution could be several different things. It could be an approach, it could be all sorts of things. So we don't want to be too prescriptive at this point, and rather just lay out the problem and then see where what the proposals are to tackle it that come in.
Yeah, and I've just got to go back to the team in Ghana. Agnes, Marley, thank you very, very much. What's it like working for Blue Skies? Is it a good business?
Yeah, yes, it's very good business. It's very good working here. I've worked there for about 20 years, and Agnes, I've worked here for how many years? 15 years. Agnes has been here for 15 years.
Wow, that's brilliant. Thank you, Agnes. Thank you, Marley. It's brilliant to have you on, because it really gives us an understanding. It's great to have Tom, but we needed it to be dressed up, and what a fantastic model we had in the respect of Agnes and you, Marley, to see how the workwear operates. That's fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you too.
Excellent. Denzel, shall we just get you back in, and so we can link over to the next one? And actually, we're going to go for a bit of Jeopardy. Marley, thank you. If you just turn your video off, that'd be brilliant. Alistair, we can see you in the field. We're just going to go live to you just to get a live report. So this is Alistair in Ghana. I don't know if you can hear us, but go on, Denzel.
Yeah, I can hear you, Max.
Hey, Alistair, lovely to see you. Have you got Ernest there with you?
Yes, Ernest is me right here at Billy's farm, some few meters away from the factory. Fortunately, we are here. The weather is quite cloudy. But we are happy to announce that it's not raining so heavily here. So we are sure that we'll be able to go through without any rains now.
Excellent. Well, I'm sorry, we're going to have to cut the broadcast because Ghana's always sunny. So if it's rainy, we can't surely have you on. That's not allowed.
Don't worry, we are in the season and we understand. So, but fortunately on the farm here, we are fine. So we have Ernest here, as you can see him ready for action. And we have the farm owner, Billy Gamati himself, and some of his staff here. So I'll hand over to you when you are ready. Ernest, I think, is very much ready for action.
Okay, I'm just gonna call my main master and controller, Denzel. Do you want to just come back on, and we'll see where we go from now? Shall we go straight to packaging and let Alistair and the team just warm up?
Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea. Let's go to, I think, Lisa and John, who are going to talk about the packaging brief.
Excellent. Alistair, could you just turn off your video, and we'll leave you for the main act and come back to you. Fantastic. So where are our two lovely people, Lisa and John, on packaging? If you could come on in. Now Lisa, if it's okay, I'm just going to say hello to John first. John, when we went out to Ghana in March, it was great to accompany you out there. Ghana, have you been out to the Blue Sky site on a regular basis, or was that relatively new to you in March? I can't remember. Tell me, John.
No, so that was new to me. That was the first time that I've been working for Blue Skies for a little bit less time than Tom, about coming up for 5 years, I believe.
A newbie.
It's great to sort of finally get out and see the factory, and it's really interesting to see a lot of things that we deal with sort of day to day in the hypothetical actually, sort of in real life, and how it all comes together.
Yeah, but it was great actually seeing the interaction with yourself and your Blue Skies colleagues in Ghana, who, as you say, you hadn't met, but they treated you like old friends when you met up, and that's everything about Ghana that we know. And Lisa, do you want to just introduce yourself to everyone on Zoom and the world, please?
Yes, hi everyone. My name's Lisa Mead. I am packaging lead at Waitrose for multiple categories, including produce, wholehead, and prep.
Wow, and thank you for coming on, because you'll be one of the most busiest people I know, I suspect, on everything that's going on. So it's fantastic to have you on. Shall I give you the floor and you guys run with it?
Yeah, that'd be great. I think John's going to share the slides.
Okay, John, off you go, sir.
Bear with me. Okay, so hopefully everyone can see that.
Not yet, John.
Not yet. There you go.
Yeah, here we go. You're on fire, sir. Over to you.
Okay, I'm going to start. We just wanted to lay out the challenge for anybody who wasn't aware of it. It's here, and obviously it's on the website as well for anybody who wants to get into the technical detail of that. But we're looking for new products, technology, and business models to help mitigate plastic pollution, especially around single-use plastic packaging that's used within fresh produce manufacturing in Ghana, with scope for expansion elsewhere as well once we have a model in place.
Yep. So can everyone hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, lovely. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the packaging that we're currently using at Blue Skies, especially in Ghana. So there's some examples on the screen. So the majority of the packaging we're using is plastic. There's a lot of benefits to plastic. It can be molded into any shape. It's sort of inert and safe to use for all sorts of applications of food. But the disadvantage, I'm sure we're all aware about in terms of disposal, recycling, and getting it into the right place. At the moment, most of the packaging which is being used in Ghana in terms of plastic packaging is purchased in the UK and then shipped out to site. So we've got some examples of that on the screen. Although when we did go and visit Ghana for the FRESHPPACT project, we did see some examples of plastic thermoformers and businesses in Ghana. It would be difficult to use them at the moment for the UK market because they're not BRC accredited and there isn't a consistent supply of recycled material sort of meet sort of expectations in the UK. So in terms of examples on the screen, you've got some products which are sold in Waitrose, and then you've also got an example of the juice that's manufactured in Ghana and sold into the local market. Okay, and then on screen now is some examples of what we saw when we looked at recycling facilities and projects which are taking place in Ghana, sort of around Accra. So the first example, sort of privately run facilities sorting through plastic bottles, cleaning and flaking them for sale and reuse. So because this is a privately run project, they're focusing on plastic bottles which have good value and market value to them. We did also see a larger sort of government-backed facility pictured at the bottom, which is more the sort of recycling processes we'd expect to see in the UK and in Europe, sort of pulling out all sorts of different sort of waste types and taking everything that they could. But the disadvantage to that, where as seen in Ghana, is that they're dependent on a lot of the waste being brought to them, I think being purchased by weight. There isn't a consistent channel to get all of the possible waste that they could process into the facility, and they had lots of open space and lots of room to sort of expand it and make it bigger. There's so much sort of capacity there if everything could be sort of joined up for them. And then we also saw some smaller operations where they're taking plastic waste and then sort of melting it down, re-extruding it, and actually manufacturing from it all on one site. The products being produced out of this that we saw were largely small black carrier bags, as pictured in the bottom right of the screen. So, you know, useful in terms of seeing things take on a sort of a second life and being recycled, but when they reach that form of the black sacks, that's probably the end of the road for that plastics, and then it's sort of gone from the recycling loop at that point. So that's just a quick summary of what we've seen so far. And then if I hand over to Lisa.
Yeah, so I wanted to talk through a little bit on the principles of material choices today, just to give you some guidance, but absolutely 100%. If you do have discussions that you want to have, please feel free to get in touch with Denzel and he can share my contact details with you. I've got no problem with that at all. Some of the basic principles are around what we would do in the UK market for sure. So keeping things simple, mono is best. We have developed a rag sheet that I think Tim mentioned previously in his presentation. I know the word biodegradable comes up quite a lot in our industry as well. So you'll see two little horns come out my head when people mention that statement. And, you know, for us, it's a desirable process if it can be certified at the end point. And I think it's really important that we do the right thing for Ghana. So it's not a no on biodegradable, but it's a cautious approach that we would like to build with anybody that wanted to submit anything. I think the most important thing that you heard from John, which was around the recycling facilities and what's available in Ghana, was around the monetization opportunities that could exist within the region. So think about the value of the materials of choice at the end of the shelf life and whether they can provide any monetization opportunities within the streams that exist today within Ghana. Whilst a lot of those guidelines are set up for the UK market, I do think it's important as well not to confuse that with the Ghanaian recycling stream. You know, it's not as set up today as the UK one. There's no single labelling standard like we use with OPRL. There's no single collection point. And everything is based on government subsidies and potential for monetization, as I mentioned before. So, you know, doing the right thing is very important. It's the right thing for Ghana with a steady approach to make sure that we have some basic principles in place. So as I said, if you've got any questions on this area, please feel free to get in touch with me either directly or through Simon Derrick. Next slide, please. So the last sheet is the rag sheet that we talked about. So again, the red ones are things that we know are harmful to the environment and we know we would not want to put on the people of West Africa and beyond. So they are sort of steady, firm areas that we would not want anyone to focus on. The amber, which we use today within Waitrose as a guidance, are things that might be providing a technical function. And while they're not perfect, they're doing a good enough job within a specific category. So I think they are things to, you know, discuss and deep dive on. And then the green are obviously the preferred material. So the monos, the high value items, the things that we know work within the recycling streams that are starting to build and set up within Ghana. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to either ask today, ask in the breakout sessions or get in touch directly. Thank you.
That's well done, team. There's so many important parts from that, and Lisa, the main takeaway I got from that was the bit that we can't forget about the Ghanaian recycling stream is so different to the UK stream. I think we probably all are guilty sometimes of being quite parochial in our thinking, in that we just remember we just think solely on the UK sector and supply chain and forget about the hugely complex supply chain and how they all mesh in and how difficult it all is. Lisa, I always use the plastic bag example. That's when Waitrose and the other retailers started charging for plastic bags, we then saw that societal change, that the likes of Kenya started also charging for plastic bags to reduce the amount of plastic bag consumption by the consumer, and it worked. So if we can create through FRESHPPACT the difference through the initiative, we're hopefully going to see the same through the likes of Ghana and other African countries and across the world. So Lisa, are you positive about the direction of this, and especially deploying FRESHPPACT? Are you positive about the future?
Hugely positive, Match. I think there's quite a few opportunities there, not only in developing approaches within Ghana, but finding the ultimate solutions as well to help feed and affect other industries. So if what we do helps develop the recycling stream in Ghana even more, I mean, what a huge win that would be. And I think it's important that we stay pragmatic. You know, we are guided by things that we are guided by the understanding we have in the UK about what is bad for the environment, ultimately, wherever it sits in the world, but not stopping ourselves from doing something in Ghana that is important to happen in Ghana to help it evolve.
Yeah, but if we can assist Ghana, you can see what's going to happen.
Exactly.
It will then assist other countries. John, we're in economic dire straits at the moment. Why should companies look to engage with us? Shouldn't we just continue as we are until 3, 4, 5 years out? Why do we need to change?
I mean, I think there's a lot of reasons to sort of try and tackle these issues as quickly as possible. And plastics that do end up in the environment are going to be there practically forever. So the longer you leave it, the more that problem is building. And I do think that having seen what is already there in Ghana, I think you're so close to being able to make extra connections or taking steps forward to actually tackle the issue now. So, you know, I don't think it's something where you can afford to wait. I think it's important to do sort of everything that reasonably possible as soon as possible.
I totally agree. You know why I was asking, and I don't like, but sometimes I do like the jingoistic expression of creating societal change. That with your input, John, and especially from Lisa from Waitrose, wow, it's brilliant to have Waitrose on as a partner with FRESHPPACT, so that we can get the other retailers and the other suppliers in the UK and overseas to make these changes. It's going to be incredibly exciting. You've been fantastic. The time is marching on. We've got to get into a pineapple field in Ghana. Denzel, do you want to just come on? John, Lisa, thank you very much. We'll bring you back in for the Q&A, I'm sure. Denzel, do you want to just introduce Alistair and Ernest, so we have a bit of an understanding on them? Alistair, if you could turn on your video as well, that'd be brilliant. Over to you, Denzel.
Thank you.
So, Ernest is our chief agronomist in Ghana, so has a huge amount of experience on agronomy, farming techniques, and supporting our farmers in Ghana. And we've got Alistair with Ernest as well. And Alistair looks after our foundation, working with Waitrose to implement projects where our farmers and our staff live. So the two work very closely together, obviously ensuring that we're doing the right thing in terms of our farming practices, and also having a beneficial impact on the communities that those farmers are in as well. So really excited that we can join Alistair and Ernest live from a pineapple farm in Ghana.
Excellent. And I've had a lot of dealings with Alistair and Ernest, and Alistair's got me out of a lot of scrapes in Ghana, and he and Ernest are just such a credit to the Blue Skies business. And again, the amazing community that they've created is just, behold, you've got to go to Ghana and see the Blue Skies business. Alistair, Ernest, over to you.
Thank you, Mark. So I'll hand over to Ernest to do the delivery. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Good afternoon, all. My name is Ernest, as Denzel introduced. I've been working with Blue Skies for 22 years and working with all fruit producers for also 22 years. I've worked closely with most pineapple farmers, and I'm on our lead farmer's farm called Billy. Today, I think we're talking more about plastics, its benefits, and the problems encountered when the production cycle is over. I think Ghana decided to adopt the use of plastic mulches when they were in the peak of production, somewhere the early 80s. And I think it was doing very well. That time it was only smooth cayenne, but they shifted to MD2, which most farmers couldn't adapt. But then the use of plastics came to a stay. And now I think you need about 2.5 rolls of plastic. Billy, for instance, he produces now about almost 400 acres every year. So you can imagine the amount of plastics that come to the farm. But what plastics really does is it's really initially it helps you get quick food establishments. smothers all weeds around the growing area. It also helps you conserve a lot of moisture because it prevents soil water evaporation. And also you get increased yield per area. And after the production cycle, you also get a lot of backup produced from a small piece of area. The normal production without plastics, you get about 3 sockets per plant. But with plastics, you can get as much as about 6-7 plants per acre. I think it has really, and then the yield per area is quite good. Most farmers were getting as low as about 14 tons per acre, but with the use of the plastics, they could get about between 25 to 26 tons per acre. But the only serious problem is after production, how to get off your plastics. I just wanted to let you see how old food, which we are standing by, how you can get off the plastic.
On 90, but the thing's empty.
I think I feel
You
an
want
egg
by 90, don't you?
takes about
I reckon
20.
we've not fill it up. I'll have a look.
Okay.
This is a food that is all exhausted. Everything has been harvested. Suckers have been harvested. And yet,
When you're saying 20 BB, you mean 20 BH?
Yeah, it's both BB or BH. We've got the same code.
fire.
Everyone, we've got Ernest speaking. Anyone who's got their mic on, could they turn it off? Because we want to hear from Ernest. Thank you.
If you don't want to use that system, either burning or plowing in and then remove the plastics later, this is what we have advised farmers to do. But they don't like to do it because it is very tedious, very time-consuming, labor-intensive, because you have to remove every plant and the plastic. I'm exposing the plastic so that you can remove it.
So Ernest is removing the mother plants, so he would expose the plastics to explain the challenge.
The interesting thing about it is that it is only soil that holds the plastics to the ground, and then when you put in the sockets, the roots of the plant also turns it up. So now, after I have removed the mother plants, now I can remove the plastics easily without getting it into the soil. So you can see me just rolling it off. And this is the best way you can do it without getting it into the soil. But because they don't want to adopt the system, they either burn or they plow and then later come to remove them. So this is the biggest challenge about plastics. Apart from that, I think the benefits are more than the advantages. But the advantage, what we have realized is that after the cycle, if you come back again to plant and your plant happens to hit on the roots, the roots hit the plastic, the plant dies off, and then they lose a lot. So recovery from the fields that has used plastics is it reduces to sometimes about 60%. So I think this is about the biggest challenge that you have. And then you lose a lot of money because revenue is lost because most of the plants die on the field. Any question?
Ernest, thank you. That's brilliant. It's so good to see you in the field. You very kindly showed us something similar back in March. So that's great to get that input. Heather, can you come in, please? Because I know that you want to get involved because you've also got some slides that you want to show us in this regard, please.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Max. I've kind of lost everyone. Here we go. It was much more important that you can see it all live from the field, but let me just quickly summarize the requirements for the technical challenge we have. If we want to remove plastic, then any replacement of whatever we do need to fulfill certain criteria. It needs to have optimal moisture retention and weed suppression to achieve a similar yield we have with the current practice of plastic in the field. Whatever covers the ground has to last for 22 months. So even if we go for a biodegradable plastic, for example, it still needs to Sorry, I realised you can't see my screen. Can you see my screen now?
We can,
Yes.
we can. Yep, you're good to go.
So whatever material we find, if it's biodegradable or it's an organic material, it needs to last 22 months in the tropical climate, where it's hot any day, it can cool down any night. We have very strong rainfalls at times. Humidity can go up to 85%, etc. It is very important that the application, the removal and the disposal of it is easy and it is safe, as well for people as for the environment. And you heard John talking about local recycling possibilities, and it should, sorry, it should support local recycling facilities and help adapt those facilities and local manufacturing. Currently, everything has to be imported, and it's mainly imported from Brazil. So there's a lot of on costs, environmentally and monetary, involved. And of course, as Tom and Lisa explained already, we need to work with preferred material based on the rack sheet available. And whichever solution we find, it has to be commercially feasible. So it can't be so expensive that we then can't buy the pineapple anymore and sell it anymore because we price ourselves out of the market. So it's important to bear that in mind. Solutions may look like this. It could be organic mulch or intercropping if we could find plants which can work as a repellent and help with weed suppression, help with soil structure so we can have a soil which retains sufficient moisture, and we solve the problem that way. Biodegradable material, as I said, it has to last for 22 months in the field. Improved manufacturing in Ghana, recycling in Ghana. All this doesn't exist at the moment for the mulch in the fields. It is being burned because it can't, it has too much soil on it, so it can't be recycled currently. Or are there new working practices and protocols? Would training help? You saw it's very difficult to, and very labor intensive to pull up the existing plastic mulch. Is there training? Can we improve techniques, etc., to help with this plastic mulch? And that's kind of on the thinking we have around the challenge.
Hella, thank you. Just a question. You think of the people that are benefiting at the moment from the selling of the plastic to the likes of Blue Skies, and that's the plastic companies and also the seed companies. Do you feel that you're fighting a bit of a lone battle here, or are you finding that the plastic companies and the seed companies are looking to assist, to partner, to collaborate with you to also find solutions, or are they just working on a fire and forget basis? They just want to sell you as much plastic, or they're looking to help you?
Well, the current plastic mulch companies we work with are sitting in Brazil, so it's far removed.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of interest from other companies in Ghana using the same plastic mulch, looking for solutions together. So we're not completely on our own. And I think if we spread the word a little bit more, plastic mulch is not only an issue in Ghana in pineapple production, it's used worldwide in so many different crops, whether it's in Egypt in melon production, in the UK in sweet corn production, etc., etc., etc. So we are absolutely not on our own. And I think but we do need to pool sources a bit more.
Yeah, there's a direct comparison here with the automotive sector, that the car manufacturers wanted to sell us cars powered by petrol, diesel, and then electric came along. And if you look how now they're retooling to say like Volvo, I can't remember the year, but by 2025 or 2030, all they're going to be doing is producing electric cars. Have we not got to see the same from the likes of packaging companies, that we've got to infer to them that we're going to stop buying your plastic unless you help us, you work with us on a collaborative basis with the likes of FRESHPPACT and Waitrose to come up with a solution. Do you think we need to have that sort of conversation, Hella, or do you think that conversation has already been had?
I think everybody is sensitized because there's so much conversation going on now around plastic and moving away from plastic. And I don't think it's only about making plastic bad and saying we can't have any plastic anymore at all. Plastic is there to have a reason, but we do need to look at the whole picture to see how can we improve the circular economy. So I don't think it's just a black and white, we can't use plastic anymore.
Got it. Denzel, do you want to just come back in and we'll just organise the wrap up? But Hella, Denzel's coming back in. Hella, are you positive? I keep on asking all the other speakers. Are you positive about the future, especially with what FRESHPPACT can potentially create?
Absolutely. I mean, it's absolutely exciting what FRESHPPACT can potentially create. And if I wouldn't be excited and positive about it, I wouldn't be here today and trying to get involved. I think it's the right approach to things to try and bring people together to find solutions together.
Excellent. Hello, well done. Denzel, what are your thoughts? I know that you will have seen a lot of this already, but the way that was just presented over the last half an hour, 40 minutes, it felt very, very unique and very real, especially with Ernest and Alistair in the field.
Yeah, no, it's great to see the challenges brought to life by seeing them in their location on the field or in the factory. So it really helps, and it's great to see that there's obviously some common themes that common threads between all of them. And I was going to sort of wrap up at the end of the challenge briefs, but I think mainly to kind of I guess to sort of identify where there might be synergies between all those common threads between all those three challenges. And certainly there seems to be big opportunity around circular economy, and I think that's something which came out when I know you, Max, and some of the team went to Ghana earlier in the year. Just hearing from the presentations on mulch, on workwear and packaging. Is there an opportunity around local manufacturing? It seems crazy that we're having to import all these materials. Things like the mulch, the workwear, even the packaging. What is the potential for actually manufacturing these materials locally and using more recycled content as well? And I like what Lisa was talking about around monetizing, understanding what is the value, the monetary value of that waste, or let's not call it waste, of that material, and how can we then use that to recycle it into other things? And there certainly seems to be the potential, the will, and the ideas to make that work. But how do we stimulate that to ensure that we're not ending up with only, 5% of this plastic being recycled, but more of it being recycled? So yeah, local manufacturing, circular economy, recycling. How can we make materials into other materials? I think there's a huge amount to think about, as well as obviously some of the challenges which are common between all of them as well. How do we avoid landfill? How do we avoid procuring yet more virgin plastics? How do we avoid incineration? Transport emissions. As I said before, we shouldn't be transporting materials from one side of the world to the other. What can we do? Looking at end of life. One example I've often thought about is, what if you recycled a lot of the waste plastics from packaging in Ghana and turned it into workwear, and then you turn that workwear into mulch? Then what could you turn that mulch into? So thinking about the end of life, thinking about plastic bags, what could it then be used for after? And I know there are plenty of experts on the call who would know what's possible and what's not possible. But my sort of naive, simple view thinks, could we make those into roads, into houses, into other materials, rather than those materials ending up in landfill or into the soil and into the environment? So yeah, obviously there's that. Sorry, I could go on, but I won't.
I know, and it's fantastic. And just watching the time, because we've got about 10 minutes to go. We want to find out more. I can see that from my feeds that people dialed in social media want to find out more. Deza, what do you want to do? Should we hop over to the Q&A and get our speakers and also the team from the University of Northampton in, and we'll just do a quick fire 10 minutes.
Yeah, let's do the Q&A. There'll also be opportunity for questions in the breakout groups, plus obviously at the end as well when we do the plenary. So yeah, let's do a quick Q&A now.
Okay, so all the team from the University of Northampton, if you could come on, and all the speakers who are in the UK, if you could come on as well. I mean, you're first one in. When I've just asked you the question, if you could just introduce yourself and who you represent, that'd be great. I mean, you're oh my God, you're so intelligent. But I got to ask you, with everything that Simon says, it feels that it just needs money, and there's so much money in investment terms out there. We know this because of what we see on a day-to-day basis. Is this going to be a solution if we can get like funds involved to establish funding into the likes of Ghana to create workwear made out of mulch? Will that start this seismic change that we want to see? What do you think?
Yeah, thanks, Max, and hi everyone. My name is Armin. I'm a professor of system thinking within the Center for Sustainable Business Practices at the University of Northampton. I think Simon covered it all pretty much. But coming back to your question, I think parts of it is the finances, but the other part is the ideas. Some people here may have part of the idea, not the other, and hence, events like this would provide a platform for collaboration and talking to the other parties. Maybe the other party has got, the other missing sort of solution, or a part of the innovation that one may not have. Coming back to the funding, I'd like to mention something in addition to what is already said about the deadline of submitting solutions. So since we are on social media, the deadline for submitting your solutions is now extended to 1st of December. And there is funding available, of course, for the solutions that are being submitted. And I think more details can be found on the FRESHPPACT website as well, as Simon kindly shared.
Excellent. I mean, well done. Lisa, if it's okay to ask with your Waitrose head on, but also just your general commercial strategic head, we see so many people who want to set up a gin company or a candle company, and that's great. But perhaps we've got so much intelligence that's within these startups that if we could direct them to create a solution around packaging rather than setting up your de facto gin company, and there was investment there to be had. Am I simplifying things, or do you think that would be an answer to creating the solution that we all want to see?
No, I don't think you're simplifying at all. Obviously, there's a lot of science behind packaging, and I would say that because I'm an engineer in my heart. But there's a lot of science. But I think maybe the African Skills Hub can help in that area. Building sort of technologists and engineers in the area and building the skills base to enable that to happen. I think that could be extremely exciting.
Excellent. And I know that Waitrose would love to be part of that to create that solution, if that's okay to say, Lisa, to see that through. Ebenezer, I always have this gripe about vertical farming. Vertical farming in the States last year had $1 billion US invested into it and turned over 120 million in sales. And so you wonder where that's going, when surely we could get that investment directed into these sort of solutions and into FRESHPPACT. I'm sure you and the team at the University of Northampton would love to have $1 billion invested into this. But again, am I simplifying that, or have we got to create the societal change to get this investment into the likes of FRESHPPACT to create this good? Ebenezer, and remember to introduce yourself, please.
Yes, thanks, Max. Yes, my name is Ebenezer. I'm an associate professor in international sustainable development law and member of the Center for Sustainable Business Practices at the University of Northampton. No, you're not simplifying it at all, Max. I think we would prefer not just $1 billion, but 100 billion, if we could get it. But I think what we're doing with FRESHPPACT is that we're making a start, and I think what we're trying to demonstrate is that these problems can be addressed, yes, with funding, but also with collaborative partnership and working together. And I think that's the key, because in the past we've seen lots of money thrown around, not necessarily thrown around, but devoted to causes like this, and it unfortunately doesn't engender the right solutions or the right sort of outcomes, because that collaborative element is missing. So I think what we're doing here is really, really important, and it's really, really nice to see the representation that we have on the call in terms of industrial partners, academics, and others.
And the motto that you've created of define the problem, discover the solution, change the world, FRESHPPACT, is even better than the new motto of the Labour Party. And we're going to have to see who's going to be in government in 2 years' time. Dilshad, help us here. How can the University of Northampton help those who are looking to apply and get involved? What would your advice be to them, please? And remember to introduce yourself, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Dilshad Sawa, Associate Professor and a member of the Centre for Sustainable Business Practice at the University of Northampton. There's lots of opportunities to get involved and communicate with the team. We've got the FRESHPPACT email that people can ask questions, you know, we're all available to answer any questions or any aspects of you know, the actual challenges themselves.
And are you excited about FRESHPPACT? Are you excited about the future?
Yeah, very excited. Yes, I think there's lots of developments. There's lots going on, lots of new initiatives, and you know, the fact that there's so many people involved today and are going to contribute as well. It's just fantastic.
Excellent. Thank you, Dilshad. There'll be a number of people who just look at this or hear this broadcast and think, well, we've got tough economic times ahead. Why do we need to? I know I've asked this previously, but why do we need to engage? Do we need to engage? Is this vitally important? Should we be looking to really promote, push, coerce, manipulate, shout, tell people that they've got to get involved with FRESHPPACT to create this change? What do you think? Remember to introduce yourself, please.
Thank you very much. So my name is Shay. I'm a lecturer in sustainable business and also a member of the Center for Sustainable Business Practices. And yeah, I think it's necessary that we shout this on top of the mountains, and everyone that hears it, everyone that has a solution should reach out to us. But also, it's understandable. You know, inflation. We're looking at what is being done all over the world in terms of central banks and things like that. People might be thinking, oh, you know, why should I bother to submit a solution? But the fact is that there is funding available up onto I think about 900,000 pounds to support solutions. And apart from the monetary funding available, there's also support like how we all are here. People all over the world are listening, and there's opportunities for collaborations. These issues will remain. Either we're in a bad economic situation or not, but what we're doing here, you know, could contribute to a brighter future. And like it is that we are saying, even in our email, changetheworld@freshpact.uk, our mission is to, you know, define the problems and come up with solutions and work with you and help change the world together.
Excellent. So we've got one person left to hear from. Sir, you know who I'm talking about. What do you think we can make this a success? What does success look like? Remember to introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, thanks, Max. My name is Chijioke, and I am the Deputy Chair of the Center for Sustainable Business Practices at the University of Northampton. For me, success is about change. We're talking sustainability. And, you know, the sustainability project is something that never ends. You know, we always, you know, aim towards, you know, increments in terms of being sustainable in terms of what we do with natural resources, in terms of how that intersects with commercial activity or economic activity and overall positive societal change. So for me, success is about, I would say, moving forward, whether it's baby steps or massive leaps. And I think with FRESHPPACT, you know, there is a massive potential, you know, to start, you know, working towards success. I mean, if you look at, you know, how far we've gone, the number of people here who are interested, and it's not just FRESHPPACT and everything we're doing, but what we do also intersects with, I would say, a global acknowledgement, a recognition of the fact that something needs to be done. And we are part of it. And that for me is is success. We will make progress. We have started making progress, and with FRESHPPACT, we will make more progress.
Brilliant. What a way to wrap up. Denzel, over to you, please, for conclusions and next steps.
Well, next steps before we go into these breakout groups. Next steps is essentially to get involved, get in touch, and as Armin said, the call for solutions has now been extended to the 1st of December. So a bit more time to develop your proposals. If you need help developing proposals, do get in touch. If you feel you've not quite got a full solution, maybe you've got part of the solution, you want to team up with somebody else, but you're not quite sure, again, get in touch and we can see whether we can link you to others who've got in contact with us. And then beyond that, we'll be going through, led by our colleagues at the university, we'll be going through a period where we're evaluating and shortlisting those ideas. And then early next year, we should be able to announce who those successful applicants are. And after then, we get to the stage where we're developing those ideas into plans, commercial test plans and pilots to then be implemented in 2023. And of course, there's funding that's going to be available for that. And of course, those projects that have been proven to be successful, we hope there will be there will be successes and breakthroughs. There will be funding available to then scale them up to invest in the knowledge sharing element of it, because we want to tell the world about it, to go towards things like marketing as well. So obviously it depends on the kind of solutions that come through as to what that funding will be used for, and depends on obviously those proposals that come to us. Yeah, we want to find those breakthroughs and tell the world so that they can be as widely adopted as possible. But until now we've been talking about the challenges, but I'm keen that we go on to talking about the solutions, which is what we're going to be doing in these breakout groups now, to sort of try and bounce off some ideas. And I'm grateful to people who've been putting a few ideas in the chat as well, some really good thoughts and comments to get the creative juices thinking.
Excellent, Denzel, well done. And so we're just going to say goodbye to everyone on social media. I'm just looking at the stats. There's been over 2,500 people being dialed in from 14 different countries. And Denzel and I were laughing in our green room that we with a couple of people from Canada. We love the people from Canada, but just to show the reach that FRESHPPACT is potentially going to have. And we can't say goodbye without thanking the FRESHPPACT partners, who, without these partners involved and the collaboration that they're creating, FRESHPPACT wouldn't exist. So just to say, Blue Skies, Prima Fruit, Fruit Veg in Ghana, Waitrose and Partners, University of Northampton and the Centre for Sustainable Business Practices, University of Nottingham, the FPC, Fresh Produce Consortium, Fresh and Dry Limited in Ghana, the Feed People, Africa Skills Hub, and Beanstalk.Global. Absolute pleasure to host FRESHPPACT. Define the problem, discover the solution, change the world. FRESHPPACT. Go on, Denzel.
I should say we should also thank UKAid and SMEP, the Sustainable Manufacturing Environment Programme, of course, provided the grant funding to enable us to set FRESHPPACT up and find those solutions. So big thank you, obviously, to UKAid and UNCTAD, who also have been part of this programme too.
Excellent. Never forget where the money comes from. Right, we're just, everyone on Zoom, if you stay there, we're just going to say goodbye to everyone on social media. This has been a broadcast from Beanstalk.Global. Pleasure to have you on. Please join FRESHPPACT, www.freshppact.org, to create this change we want to see. So we'll